Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the April 4th Local Planning Agency meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Moving on to the consent agenda, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the March 7th and March 21st meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Moving on to unfinished business. The first item on the agenda is in a public hearing that's been continued since the March 7th, 2019. It's the Treasure Coast Classical Academy D054-005 quasi-judicial request for approval of a major final site plan for the development of a two-story 65,000 square foot educational institution with associated infrastructure on approximately 14.22 acres located at 1400 Southeast Cove Road on the south side of Southeast Cove Road, approximately 1.3 miles east of Southwest Canner Highway in Stewart. Included is a request for certificate of public facilities reservation requested by Ella Taylor, Medalist Building Group, LLC, presented by Kathleen Riska, Principal Planner at Growth Management Department.
Did we do ex parte communication?
Not yet. No, that'd be the next item. That'd be the next thing to do.
Sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
perfect.
yeah.
That's good.
That's
Like-
perfect
I
time.
missed something.
Yeah, perfect time.
Anybody has any ex parte communication? I do not.
Yes, I do. I had the opportunity to meet with council and the principal of the new school last week to review the site plan.
Very good.
And I did also with council and the representatives of the school.
I was contacted by council and representatives, but unfortunately, due to illness and travel, I was not able to meet with them.
Very good. And since this is a quasi-judicial meeting, I guess this is where
We would need to swear anyone in that's going to provide testimony. Now, just for the benefit of the public, if individuals are just speaking as a member of the public, they do not need to be sworn in. But any members of staff or the applicant's representatives that are going to provide testimony need to please stand and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, and just for the record, it's very important that anybody that is going to speak indicate that they have been sworn in and then provide their name for the record. And it's helpful to, if you have an unusual spelling of your name, to provide that. So I think those are the preliminary matters, Mr. Chairman. Just for the members of the public, you have a 3-minute time frame for public comment, which will come after the staff presentation and the applicant presentation, and there would be an opportunity then for the members of the public to speak regarding this matter.
All right. Catherine?
Good evening, honorable members of the local planning agency. I am Catherine Riska, Principal Planner with the Growth Management Department, and it's my pleasure to present to you this application requesting approval. Before I start, I'd like to say that for the record, a full copy of the agenda item, including a copy of my work history, has been provided. Additionally, I have some returned notices that came to the county instead of to the agent, and need to turn those in for the record. The applicant did turn in the affidavit of noticing and at the first LPA hearing in January. So this is an application for a major development final site plan. The site, which consists of 14.2 acres of undeveloped land, including both upland and wetland habitat located on the south side of Cove Road, as shown in the agenda item. The future land use of the site is estate density 2 units per acre, and the zoning on the property is RE 1/2A, Residential Estate District. The educational institution use is a permitted use within this land use and zoning. The parcels adjacent to the subject site, to the west, to the east, and the northwest, have a residential future land use and are undeveloped. To the east, they have a residential land use and contain both a single-family home and an institutional use known as the Samaritan House. The proposed project is for a two-story, 65,000 square foot educational institution for K through 12 with outdoor athletic areas and supporting infrastructure. This project is located within the primary urban services district and proposes a single access via Cove Road. Water and wastewater services will be provided by Martin County Utilities. The full 1.26 acres of wetlands existing on the project site and 3.24 acres of common upland habitat are being preserved and will be maintained in perpetuity in accordance with the applicant's submitted and staff-approved Preserve Area Management Plan, also known as a PAMP. The materials provided in your packet include application materials submitted through March 25th and the most up-to-date review findings within the staff report dated March 27th, in accordance with the Article 10 procedures for hearing scheduling. At that time, the review of revised landscape plans received on March 27th was ongoing, so it was documented in your staff report as pending. And also the comprehensive plan section, which is dependent upon the compliance of all areas of review, was also identified as pending. Since then, the review of the revised landscaping plans, including minor technical revisions to the final site plan for consistency, and within the context of the applicant's submittal of the request for alternative landscaping compliance pursuant to Section 4.667 of the Land Development Regulations, has been completed. Staff has determined that the materials associated with this application have demonstrated compliance with the applicable requirements of the Martin County landscaping codes, and the status of both the landscaping and comprehensive plan reviews, including the request for alternative landscape compliance, are now deemed a comply. Subject to development order conditions as will be set forth. The landscaping will require a development order condition that requires a review and approval of the specific Florida native wildflower and grasses seed mix, which is yet to be sourced by the applicant. The area to be seeded has been identified on the revised landscape plans, and although they have not yet chosen the specific source for those native seeds, those will be reviewed and approved by our environmental administrator in the growth management prior to application. The Public Works Department has also carefully reviewed the application with respect to the applicable county code requirements for traffic, engineering, stormwater, and flood management. Staff has deemed that the application materials demonstrate compliance with the code requirements, subject to two conditions for traffic mitigation. The development order will be conditioned to require that the student drop-off and release times for the Treasure Coast Classical Academy will not be concurrent with the Anderson Middle School hours, which is located about a quarter mile west of this location. These drop-off and pickup times must have a minimum 1 hour difference to mitigate and prevent traffic congestion with the Anderson Middle School. And the development order will further be conditioned that prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy, new permanent signalization infrastructure and associated right-of-way improvements must be completed and certified by the applicant and accepted by the county engineer at the project's entrance. During the application process, staff has received approximately 70 public comments, which have been carefully considered by each subject matter expert during the review for the applicable areas of review related to those comments and concerns. These public comments are also provided for your consideration in pages 256 through 318 of your packet. In summary, the Development Review Team has completed the review of this application and has deemed that the application is in compliance with the applicable provisions of Martin County Land Development Regulations, Comprehensive Growth Management Plan, and Martin County codes. Therefore, staff recommends that the LPA issue a recommendation of approval of the major development final site plan, including the alternative landscape compliance for the Treasure Coast Classical Academy, subject to the 3 additional conditions recommended by staff that will be included in the draft development order provided to the Board of County Commissioners next week. That completes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Joe?
I have one. On the bottom of page 8, second paragraph from the bottom, in the middle of that section, it says the worst case analysis assumes project's full enrollment trip generation will be added to the peak hour traffic grown with background trips in 2021. Help me to understand, what does that mean?
I'll need our traffic reviewer to answer that question.
Is Luke here?
We have staff members that I think are standing by from the Public Works Department, and hopefully they're listening to come down, Mr. Chairman, and
Table that one until we get them here.
Fine, yes.
Don, you have any questions?
I do not. I'd like to hear the public comment in that.
We got to get
Not
to
at this
the
time. Yeah.
the applicant's got to get
Oh,
his
yeah,
chance.
absolutely.
Cindy?
I'm fine.
Okay, so at this time, we'll go ahead and have the presentation from the applicant.
Mr. Chairman, maybe I'm wondering, we have a number of people standing. There are still some seats available if people can, maybe everyone can kind of squeeze in so that maybe we can give people a minute. So I know there's a lot of interest, but maybe everybody can find a spot or something. Want to make sure people are able to hear.
Like church.
You're right. Right, exactly. And I guess if they just wave if they're not hearing, then that'd be the thing to do. So.
If you all can't hear us, let us know. We'll try to speak up louder. We'll just make sure everybody can hear what's going on.
There are a couple seats in the front row that are available over here. If somebody wants to sit, I guess no takers. So okay.
All right, Mr. Raines.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Bob Raines. I'm a land use attorney with the Gunster Law Firm, and I'm here this evening on behalf of the applicant. And in a moment, I'm going to have Josh Long, a planner with our firm, come up and make a short presentation before you, kind of just walk you through very quickly the site plan and cover a couple of the items I think that are of interest to the public. But first of all, I'd like to state for the record that we have received and reviewed the staff report that was issued by the staff, and I think Catherine did an excellent job of summarizing that staff report, and I'm pleased to say that we do agree with the comments, the conclusions, and the recommendations in that staff report, and we'd like to adopt it as part of our presentation here tonight. And Mary, we'd like to submit it as Applicant's Exhibit 1 for tonight's hearing. I think it's important that it's clear and that everybody understands what we're here tonight for. this is a request for a major site plan approval under straight zoning. And by that, I mean, this is a permitted use under the land use designation and the zoning designation for the property. So this is a by right permitted use. This isn't a PUD. We're not asking for any kind of relief from some of the zoning codes as you would typically do in a PUD. And we're not here to debate whether this is the appropriate location for this school. That's already been determined by the fact that it's a permitted use and allowed under the zoning and the land use designation. So what we are here tonight for is to show that we do comply with all of the Martin County rules and regulations. That's the question before you all this evening, is do we meet all of the county's rules and regulations to have this project approved for this particular site? And we believe we do. We believe it's evidenced by the staff report before you tonight that's been presented. And, I read all of the emails that Catherine had referred to, and a lot of them had suggested, and said, make sure they comply with the rules, hold their feet to the fire, make sure they meet all the rules and regulations. And I agree with that. And that, I'm a Martin County resident for 32 years. I've been doing 22 years of land use work in this county, and I've never brought a project before this board or the county commission that didn't comply with all the rules and the regulations. So, and I wasn't at the LPA meeting previously, but I think it was this board's direction to come back when we had all complies. And that's why we're here this evening, because tonight we do have all complies. So I just wanted to be clear as to what the goal is tonight. The goal is to make sure that we do agree that we comply with all the rules and regulations. That's what you're tasked with, not whether that some people think this is the appropriate location or not. That's already been established. So with that, I'd like Josh Long, who's a planner with our firm, to come up and make a short presentation, and then I'll have a few remarks.
Good evening. I have been sworn in. My name is Josh Long. I'm an AICP certified planner with the Gunster Law Firm. I want to thank Catherine and the rest of the staff for working with us on this application. She did a great job in presenting today and good overview of everything. I'm just going to hit a couple little things. But first, I just want to reiterate that our application does comply with all the comprehensive plan and land development regulations, and we do have complies in all of our staff report comments. So here's a quick aerial of the site. Catherine showed you an aerial as well. So we do, to the north, we have Cove Isle. To the south of us, there's a state park. To the east of us is the Samaritan House for boys and a single-family residential property. And to the west is undeveloped and another single-family residential property. This is the final site plan, and I'm going to just highlight a couple areas, and I'll go into a little more detail in just a second. First, in blue there, you do have the school in the center of the site. Then I also, in pink, I want to show you the recreation area, which includes a basketball court and the tot lot. The wetland preserve areas are in green, and then our retention areas, both wet and dry retention, are in purple. The internal driveway and student drop-off system is in orange, and the new traffic signal is in red. This blow-up of the slide is the northern part of the site plan. And I want to first identify the traffic signal and mention that this traffic signal is a condition of approval that we've agreed to, that it has to be installed before the certificate of occupancy can be received for the school. So this light will be up and running before the school gets a certificate of occupancy. I'd also like to point out that we are going to provide a 6-foot wall along this entrance here, adjacent to the single-family residential properties. Next, this is the center of the site, and you can see the location of the school in pink. This is the location of the drop-off, which is behind the school, shielded from Cove Road. It's in blue there. And most importantly, this is the circulation system, as you can see with the blue arrows. This is a double-laned circulation system that winds through the entire site. It's been carefully constructed to ensure that the stacking for the school stays in the site and does not go out to Cove Road. So as you can see, it can contain over 160 cars within the actual site. And just quickly, the southern portion of the site is primarily entirely contained with wet preserve area, dry retention, wet retention areas. It's important to note that approximately 8 of the 14 acres of the site, or 56% of the site, is open space on this site. So it's a very open and green site. I do want to go into the architecture of the site. As you can see, this is a very classic and a very clean look for the school that's going to make it stand out and be an honor for the students and parents that attend this school. And with that, I would like to turn it back over to Bob Rains for closing remarks.
Before Josh steps in, I have just a couple of questions for him. So, Mr. Long, can you again just kind of state your qualifications, please, sir? for the
Yes,
record?
I'm a AICP certified planner with 16 years of planning experience in this area.
And can you describe the paper I'm handing you?
That is my resume with qualifications.
Okay. And is it accurate?
Yes, it is.
And I'd like to submit that, if I could, as Mary's applicant's exhibit 2, I believe. Thank you, sir. For the record. Mr. Long, just a couple of quick questions. I believe you mentioned that you were familiar with the Martin County land development regulations and also the Martin County comprehensive plan. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
And you've been practicing in Martin County for a number of years. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
And so you reviewed this site plan?
Yes, I have.
And in your professional opinion, does it comply with all the rules and regulations of the Martin County land development regulations and the comprehensive plan?
Yes, in my professional opinion, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that really concludes our presentation. We believe that we have met all of the rules and the requirements and the regulations of the Martin County Comprehensive Plan and the land development regulations. We have a staff report that says that we do meet all those rules and regulations, and we have a staff recommendation of approval. So with that, we would respectfully request that you move this item forward to the Board of County Commissioners with a recommendation of approval. We have other members of our team here. We'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. And I would like to reserve the right to make any comments after the public comment that we feel might be appropriate.
Very good.
So thank you.
Okay, well, it's back to the board. Does anyone have any questions?
I think we have
At this
staff
time?
here.
Oh,
Yep.
would staff like to come forward and answer Joe's question from earlier?
Yeah, sure. We have the appropriate staff representatives here. And we need to swear you in. Thank you, Ms. Whisker. Now I understand why you were waving at me. Sorry, I apologize for that. Do the rest of you guys going to go ahead and get sworn in just in case? Okay, we've got 3 other staff people who have not yet been sworn in. Okay.
Swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. State your name clearly.
Luke Lambert, Traffic Analyses Manager for Martin County.
If I could, I don't know if you have the monitor there in front of you. At the bottom, towards the bottom of page 8, you might have heard from the recording. It says this worst case analysis assumes. Explain that. What does that mean in terms of that in the Cove Road area?
Sure. So basically every project that comes in for development review, we make them do the worst case by their build-out year, which in case is 2 years after expected approval date, so 2021 in this case. So the applicant demonstrated through through various tables in their report, they basically do a trip generation step. So they say, okay, we're going to have 1,000 students, and then they grow out the background trips with the current trips, and then they add on project trips. And at first look, it looked like that was going to be exceed the acceptable level of service volume on Cove Road, which is currently 880 vehicles in the peak hour directional. And so they had to do a more detailed analysis, which is in the appendices of the report. And that analysis with the traffic signal installed showed that the corridor would operate at an acceptable level. So basically, the rest of the sentences there, they've told us that they intend to start out, grades K through 6, and then ramp up, add those later years on. So we truly do feel that that's the worst case scenario. for 2021, the build-out year. So with only, half of the school enrolled, the trip generation should be much less in the initial 2 years.
So if it opens K-6 and then 6 years down the line before it goes to the 12th grade level, and add that, I think I heard like a little over 1,000, like maybe 1,100 students total. What impact is that going to have on Cove Road? Do we go that far out as far as our estimations? What's the 5-year plan? It's not specific to the school as it is Cove Road. So I'm sorry to put you on the spot. We had a conversation a while back.
Correct. So if a little further down on the next page of the staff report, they discuss the different mitigation tactics, but one of the big things is, Cove Road is in the long-range transportation plan, which is, done by the Martin Metropolitan Planning Organization. They do the 25-year horizon planning study. They come up with a list of cost-feasible projects, which could be funded through various measures, developers, mostly your federal gas tax dollars that come back to the county, and it's currently been prioritized. And a project development and environmental study has been identified in the FDOT's work program, funded for years fiscal year 22 and 23. So, and that's basically the start of the process to widen Cove Road from 2 to 4 lanes.
Thank you. You've answered my question.
So if I may, though, to clarify, 22, 23 is the start when the studies are done and so on and so forth. When would you, this may be a trick question, or when will they start paving Cove Road?
That's always the moving target.
The moving target, yeah.
I mean, I think with, if things get accelerated, lots of stuff can happen with the state work program. We typically see that it would be 5 years after the study. So after the study, you have design and then construction. We hope to accelerate the process, and I think that's going to be, priority of hopefully the board and the MPO board.
Right.
So, I mean, it could happen sooner.
But the horizon is, from what you just said, I would say 2027 to the pavement laid, but hopefully sooner than that.
Hopefully.
Okay, I'm sure everybody in the audience wants to know that answer as well. But interesting, thank you so much for your input. Anybody else have any questions for the gentleman?
Nope.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I don't have any.
Not at this time.
Okay, well, with that said, we'll move on to public comment. I would like to make one caveat. We'll be hearing public comment only on this agenda item at this point. I have a stack of requests to speak forms, but I'm not sure. I think there may be people here to speak on other issues that may or may not be on the agenda, but at this point, we'll be listening or hearing only requests to speak on this agenda item for Treasure Coast Classical Academy. So if I call your name and you're here to speak about something else, please say you'll speak later at this point, but we'll only be hearing, like I said, on Treasure Coast Classical Academy. So the first person I have is Heather Rogers. Heather Rogers? And on deck, if you would please come up and be ready, would be Stephen Martinez.
Good evening. As I look around this room, I see a common denominator here. When I think of public schools that represent us, they are filled with diversity. This room is not that. As I look around at who's proudly wearing these buttons, many look as if their children have graduated years ago. Tonight is all about seeing if the boxes have been checked as comply. Let's check the boxes that comply with being a citizen in our community. Are all the children able to attend Treasure Coast Classical Academy? No. Is there transportation? No. Is there transparency? No. Do the numbers provided to the district align with the numbers given to the commissioners? No. If this school was truly for all, would there be buses? Yes, there would be. If it was built in a place of need? No, it's not. It's being built next to an A-rated middle school and a B-rated elementary school. I know the laws written in by Scott, the Donalds, Negrons, and Corcoran are all to the charter's advantage. Wonderful for the charters. How does this school enhance our 19,000 students in Martin County? How does this help our 1,200 educators who continue to work tirelessly as our legislators continue to stack the cards against them? Thank you.
Stephen Martinez with Lori Prime on deck.
Hi, my name's Steve Martinez, and I'm the only resident that's going to be next to this driveway that's going to be going to the school. I'll go back again. They satisfied one of my issues when they said they were going to build a wall. I'm excited. Now, if Donald Trump could be excited, that would be good too. But basically, what we're talking about is Cove Road, which is 2 lanes. It's a terrible, terrible mess. People that have lived in this town know it's been going on for years. We're going to get a delay of 5 years to even consider putting 2 lanes each way. That's another headache, because now you're adding more traffic. I'm going to stick with my original issue is that I don't want this school here. I don't mind it. I don't mind them putting up a 6-foot wall or give me some kind of privacy. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I continue paying my taxes. I love paying my taxes to this town. I love this town. Hopefully, you people can come up with something positive to happen. Either now or delay it for a year or 2 or 3 years till this study comes out. I would be okay with that. Thank you very much.
Lori Pram, followed by Valerie Tenet, or Tourette. I can't read the last second. See if you could make that out, Don, for me.
My name is Lori Prim. I know this meeting is not about the merits or lack thereof of charter school businesses, and it's also not only about compliance, or we wouldn't need any votes. We would just go with what growth and planning said with all the checked boxes. I hope then that you will consider the real-life view of traffic, flooding, and safety that don't necessarily appear on drawings and can't always be adequately measured or foreseen, as they weren't when Legacy Cove was built right across the street. And keep in mind that a brand-new project was just approved last week by the commission right next to this one. My hope is that you will consider these specific components within the project as a whole and use human judgment and discretion that you were entrusted with when elected representatives chose you for this board. Please evaluate this charter business as you would any other, not on the basis of check boxes alone, but on the value, trust, character, and goodwill it brings to our community. Please keep in mind that this project will serve several hundred students and a handful of teachers at the clear and direct expense of 18,000+ other students and 1,200 teachers who are being cut off at the knees. That is not good value. Please consider that this project is funded by taxpayer money and that a recent study found that $1 billion has been lost nationally to charter school businesses. I sincerely hope that we are smart enough not to throw good Martin County money out after bad. Please consider that this project was approved by the school board when Rebecca Negron sat on it, pulling its strings, and the community's response was subsequently to vote her out. Please consider that while Ms. Negron was on the school board, her husband, Senator Joe Negron, was in Tallahassee pushing through the very legislation needed to make this project happen and happen on public's tax dollars taken away from public schools. That is not good character, that is corrupt. Please consider that also supporting the legislation was House Representative Byron Donalds, the husband of Erica Donalds, who is the founder of this project. Ms. Donalds also founded a charter school business in Collier County that is already failing and from which she has pulled her own children. Please consider that Ms. Donalds was appointed to the Florida Revision Commission by Senator Richard Corcoran, whose wife also founded a charter school business in Pasco County, as you can see how this is going. And the amendment she crafted, Amendment 8, to allow charters to flourish all over the state was so deceptive to voters that the League of Women Voters filed a lawsuit and a judge threw it off the ballot. That is not trust. How else have they or will they continue to deceive? Please consider that the charter has not provided accurate, updated enrollment information to the Martin County School Board and has encouraged parents not to do so. That is not goodwill. Not to mention the traffic on Cove Road. Please consider that after stakeholders legislatively gutted our public school funding, the community's response was to pass 2 local taxes in support of our public schools and teachers. A lot of people can't or are afraid to come speak to these meetings, but they have spoken. As a taxpayer, I am funding this business, so I'm technically a shareholder, though I will see no profit, only suffer its losses. So I hope you will consider carefully and give weight to the very plain facts as evidence in boundless, and I mean boundless research, that these charter businesses are a direct attack on our public schools, legalized theft of public tax dollars, and intentional eroding of the separation of church and state addressed by the founders of our country.
We need to wrap it up.
No part of this project is okay. Take a stand. Be the change. Be the light. This is not good for our community. Thank you.
Krista, I just want to make one comment. Listen, the public certainly has a right to say, but I don't think it's right that they should be making personal attacks on specific people during.
Whoa. Hey, excuse me.
No.
Excuse me. We will retain quorum in this room. We will not entertain personal attacks, especially on people standing in this room. That will not happen, you all.
That's all I ask. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, the next speaker will be Valerie Tourette, as best I can make it out. Followed by Logan Buffa.
I just wanted everyone to know that I'm in favor of this school, this project.
Guys, please. We need to hold the applause and we need to keep everything under control in the room, please. Logan Buffa, followed by Brenda Lavori, on deck.
I'm a senior at Jensen Beach High School.
You need to speak your name for the record, please.
Logan Buffa. I'm a senior at Jensen Beach High School. I live across Britt Road. So every day when I drive to Jensen Beach High School, I drive on Britt Road, and I'm always behind someone who has silver hair and drives about 15 miles per hour in a 35. Yeah, with their signal on. You're absolutely right. And I always find myself cursing the good Lord in anger and agony, waiting for these people to move out of my way. I can't imagine what sitting behind these silver-haired folk on Cove Road would be like once there's a new school. And frankly, I hope that no one has to experience that tragedy. That being said, anyone who says that we're going to litigate the wetlands in this school is lying to themselves. Plain and simple, we all know that developers frequently and constantly avoid litigation just for their own gains. As a board, you have all fought to cross the T's and dot the I's on this and check every box there is, and I thank you for that. But I hope that you can look at the facts objectively and understand that there is much more to this school than meets the eye. Thank you.
Brenda Lavori, followed by Laura Pate, excuse me.
My name is Brenda Lavoie. I live in Summerfield on Cove Road. In addition to overbuilding in the area, as there are several other housing project and commercial developments in the works, and the traffic problems that will be created with the school, I want to point out two relevant key points about charter schools. There are a host of others, as Lori Prim brought to light, but these two are really key points. First of all, charter schools are privately owned school funded with taxpayer dollars, taken away from the children who go to public schools. Number two, these schools, I feel, are discriminatory in practice. There are no buses. Therefore, only parents who are able to drop off their children in the morning and pick them up in the afternoon can send their kids to this school. To me, that leaves out a whole group of children in Martin County who have working parents who are unable to leave work to pick their children up in the afternoon. I look at the parents here with those buttons supporting the school, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they certainly look like they're able to provide transportation for their kids without a problem. That is not true for a lot of residents of Martin County. I fail to see the benefit of this or any other charter school. Thank you.
Laura Pate, followed by Jennifer Wiggins.
Good evening. My name is Laura Pate. I've seen you all before. I live in Palm City, and I just wanted to thank you for all the work and all that staff has done. So I've been to several of these meetings, and I've worked and seen both sides. So I do thank you for hearing all of these comments. I just do want to say the point here, as our attorney so eloquently pointed out, is about land planning. That's what we're here tonight. We are in compliance. We've worked so hard, as I know you guys have as well. So just pointing out again, we are in compliance. That's what you asked. I am very excited. I have a child that will be attending the school. She's going to be in first grade, and it's been an answer to our prayers and so many of the hundreds of families that are also enrolling their students here. We are concerned about safety. We're also concerned about traffic. Of course, we don't want to burden that community. We have already started carpools. I have several people in this room that I've already agreed to carpool with. So we are working on all of that. We don't want to cause any more traffic. The car line, I've seen it in practice at our sister charter school up in Brevard County. So we want that as well. I find some of these comments highly offensive, that they're stereotyping us as parents, but that's nonetheless. My point is just there's hundreds of people who are excited about this school. It's a wonderful opportunity and a phenomenal education that will only increase our property value as a county. This is good for our county to be able to offer the school. Please don't make it political. There's lots of fear-mongering going on. There's lots of negativity, lots of false statements. Let's stick to the facts. Let's look at the compliance and the fact that a study just came out last week on how charter schools outperformed in the state of Florida. So again, there are two sides to every story, but that's what the facts are coming out as. So again, I appreciate your time. I certainly hope this is an exciting evening. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jennifer Wiggins, followed by Lorraine Johnson.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Wiggins. I'm a little nervous to speak, actually. I have students that are going to be at the charter school, and charter schools are an important part of our system. I worked at one in Port St. Lucie and absolutely loved it. I will be working also at this one. The trend is not abating. There's reasons why parents are choosing these schools for one reason or another. Same reason why teachers are choosing different places as well. Other counties have found a way to work together with charter schools to make their systems even stronger, and it'd be really nice if the county could do that, but we'll have to see in the years to come. Charters do use tax revenues to fund the school, making them tuition free, just like a regular public school. Because although I can take my kid to school because I work there, I cannot afford to put them into a private school. And this school is going to have a great classical education that I want for my kids. The difference is that we have to raise money for the capital expenses, like building a new school. And so that's all new for me. I've been helping them, and it's very nerve-wracking, and it's a lot of work to do what they're doing. And so it's just all new and scary. But the local taxpayers invest in the education of our county's children, and the Treasure Coast Classical Academy is well positioned to make that investment a very worthy one. So please support our school. Thanks.
Very good. Lorraine Johnson, followed by Leanne Fries.
I don't have anything written, but I wanted to thank you for your time and all the work everybody put into this. My address is St. Lucie County, but I lived in Martin County for 20 years, and I worked in Martin County my whole career as a preschool director and preschool teacher right in that area, right on Salerno Road, actually, in 2 different facilities. And the reason that I support this school and that I got involved with this school was because in my time in the preschool, I've just met so many parents. Martin County has great schools. Everybody wants to be in Martin County schools. Parents love Pinewood and Crystal Lake and Seawind. I ministered to kids from there in aftercare programs. But there were also through the years so many parents who needed a choice, a different choice, and who were discouraged. And I just looked at this and really it it is a good program. It is a good education. It's a classical education. It's not music. Somebody asked me if it was music today. I said no. It's a basic classical education with, I just wanted to say thank you for your time, but I worked in that area and I know so many parents who I know will bring their kids there just for the sake of having that choice. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Leanne Fries, followed by Karen Wheeler.
Hi, Leanne Fries.
Excuse me.
Dear ladies and gentlemen of the board, what is liberty? What does the rule of law mean? Where do civil rights originate? What is meant by freedom of religion? What are the Federalist Papers, the Bill of Rights? And what does the Constitution of these United States tell us about America and her founding? None of these things are taught anymore in many or most public schools. Yet these foundational principles and documents, now largely ignored by modern education, are vitally important and form the citadels of our ordered society and the basis of individual and natural rights and the origin of our laws. There are many pathways and many methods for educating young children and teenagers. Parents are ultimately empowered to choose the specific pathway and method on behalf of their children as to this educational choice. This proposed school, TCCA, which approaches education from a classical and liberal arts angle, combined with American foundational principles and documents, should be allowed to take root here in Martin County. Many parents here tonight are strong supporters of this new school. Parents who care deeply and are intimately involved in providing a quality education for their precious and beloved children. We all hope you will allow the parents to choose TCCA and allow the construction of this wonderful school to move forward for all of our children. Thank you.
Karen Wheeler, followed by John Snyder.
Hi there. I moved to Martin County in 1987, and I love this community. I recently went under contract for a new home that will make me neighbors with the Treasure Coast Classical Academy. I purchased this home specifically to be next to this school and strongly encourage this body to approve the site plan for TCCA. And I would like to just add this. I am so excited to think that Martin County is going to have diversity and choice. I think the speaker that talked about diversity is so right. I recall driving my son in the first year that the Dreyfus School of Arts was opened. I drove him to Palm Beach County. There was not a choice in Martin County. And so how exciting to know that there's going to be that diversity and the choice for the parents of Martin County.
John Snyder, followed by Maria Wells.
Honorable members, dedicated staff, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the hard work and effort that you've put into this project. As a lifelong born and raised Martin County resident, I strongly urge you to recommend this project for approval. And again, thank you for all your hard work on this project. Thank you.
Maria Wells, followed by Barbara Klein.
Good evening. I am Maria Wells, and I would like to reiterate to thank you for all of your hard work. I know that you did not take this lightly, and as much as I would like to stand up here and tell you all the merits of being able to have a choice in Martin County, the reason that we are all here is for you to only pass the site plan. And I understand that people are passionate about wanting to speak about the school. They want to speak about the location, but that has been decided. And we have a lot of parents and a lot of children that are so excited that have made this choice and are depending on you to be able to pass that for us tonight. So thank you very much for your time.
Barbara Klein, followed by Jerry Klein.
This is a letter to the editor written by my husband and me that was published in the Stuart News on February 15, 2019. There has been no suggested correction to any of the numbers in this letter. The proposed charter school location is a disaster waiting to happen. The Martin County School Board has approved a charter school being built on Cove Road. The location of the school is a bad fit on Cove Road, which is a 2-lane highway that leads to and from Interstate 95 off Canner Highway. Plans are now in the works to expand the road to 4 lanes, which may not start until 2021. And then we all know how long that will take to come to fruition. In the meantime, there's already 1 school on Cove Road, many gated communities, and assisted living facility. And you have to believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, more development will be occurring on Cove and Willoughby. As it stands today, driving down Cove is already a nightmare, which will only get worse if this school is built. There will be no busing, therefore, every student will be brought to school by car. With the initial enrollment of 600 students, that means about 500 vehicles using Cove Road that will be bringing and picking up children twice a day. Realistically, that means between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., there will be a combined entry and exit of the school of about 1,000 cars. When they get to 1,000 students, add another 300 cars. Just imagine the vehicle quagmire with small left and right turn lanes, a new traffic light, a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, and even more cars as the vacant land in the area gets developed. Just think of first responders trying to get through this mess. Even with sheriff patrols on site, the quagmire of epic proportions will still exist. We have also added this thought that is not in our original letter. It seems that everywhere a charter school opens, the problem of traffic has become overwhelming, and in some areas has also created additional air pollution from the exhaust of all the vehicles. Cove Road is a designated truck route between Canner and US 1. Can you imagine huge tractor trailers stalled in the quagmire adding to the pollution? This will affect everyone who lives in the immediate area. I'm sure these negative factors are the only reason you need to recommend to the county commissioners to not approve this location on Cove Road for a charter school. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Jerry Klein, followed by Gloria Gromozy. Thank you.
I live in the same place as my wife in Summerfield, Cove Road. And it's been I had a whole dialogue of more negative things that I was going to say. And we've heard both sides. If this type of school is this good, then why not sell it to Martin County and have them add it to it, okay? They're going to pull over $500,000 out of the school. I know this is not for you to decide, but they are going to pull over $500,000. What's going to reduce? We ran a business for 34 years, and there's a cost of doing business. Not one penny will be reduced by taking 1,000 students out of this school. You're going to still have 17,000 kids to take care of. If the curriculum, and I'm the worst, I cannot value curriculum or teaching. I'm a 12th grade graduate, and I was in the bottom third of my class. So I have no rights to talk about how good this school will be. I hope it will be. To the parents that are going to bring their kids, if this is turned down, I think they're doing you a favor. A lady mentioned that her child was going to be in first grade. You're going to have to wake the child up to bring them into school because they're going to fall asleep standing in that 100-car line waiting to get into school. Traffic is the main reason you should oppose the location and ask these people to find a better location that is more comfortable for the citizens who have to use the highway and for the parents and guardians that are going to bring the kids to this school. I was a little concerned about this temporary building. I hope it's safe. I hope it can handle the number of kids that are going to be in the building. I hope it's fire right. I hope it's very good forum. We're not objecting entirely to the idea of what the school wants to teach. It's the wrong place to put this particular school because of what it's going to do to the citizens and the residents who are near Cove Road, to the people who commute back and forth on Cove Road every single day. I have a family next to me who work in Palm Beach. One's a sheriff, one works in a jail. They've been in the house 2 years. They're selling for one reason. It's taking them too long to get to work right now using Cove Road. They leave in the morning to go to work. They're selling, the home has already been sold. It was took 10 days to sell it because Summerfield is hot. And this is the type of thing I think you people have to evaluate. From the road in, they can have everything that's right, all the T's and I's. But there's one T they can't cross. It's called traffic. And my wife documented this. We talked to the people at in the county building about the traffic. I said 400 cars. I was winked at and said 500 cars. Can you imagine that? 500 in and 500 out. That's 1,000 cars hitting that road at the same time that a road can't handle it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Gloria, followed by Jackie Trassinger.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Gloria Granovich. As you know, voters in Martin County in the last 2 elections passed salary increases and increased spending money to our public schools to improve teacher retention, student safety, and performance. This demonstrates that the voters of Martin County are a diverse group of people who support public education. Therefore, I see any approval of the Treasure Coast Classical Academy on Cove Road as this board's lack of accountability to this community. You will be voting to siphon off this increased public education funding by creating a privately run school using public school funds. This shows a lack of civic responsibility to the parents, to the teachers, students, and the voters of Martin County. Within walking distance, and Ms. Riska spoke, a quarter of a mile of this site, we have the David Anderson Middle School with 955 students. Reflecting the diversity of Martin County, this middle school has a diverse student body, with 47% of the students being minorities, mainly Hispanic. If the Treasure Coast Classical Academy is allowed to create a K-12 school, we know that mostly Caucasian students with more money for their schooling will end up going to the Treasure Coast Classical Academy. Within walking distance of each other, you'll be creating increased segregation with the future potential of violence for these schools, because you'll have segregated schools. In addition, the Treasure Coast Classical Academy will require parents to drive students into school, creating havoc and safety issues on Code Road, a 2-lane blacktop that is a major thoroughfare for traffic to 94 because of the 500-acre Halipatochi Park. If you are going to have 2 lanes for drop-off,
Excuse me, ma'am. You need to address the
2 lanes for drop-off, 2 lanes for drop-off of students going to this academy, how can you allow 1 lane for Cove Road? The next road running parallel to Cove Road is Salerno, which has routine flooding problems, and often the police have to set up detours because of it. You will likely destroy our local community and our public education system. Please vote against the final site for the Treasure Coast Classical Academy.
Next, now, Jackie, are you speaking on this agenda item or something else?
No, I'm speaking on this.
Okay, all right. Next up,
No.
hold on deck is Haas Wiggins.
The school board members are elected. The next time we have an election, the first question you should ask a candidate is, do you believe in establishing charter schools in Martin County? If they hedge or they answer yes, don't vote for them, period. They are the ones who wanted this school in here. A war is being waged on public education, and the old school board is complicit in that. Now came the Treasure Coast Classical Academy with some land in a very bad place with their proposal for that school. The people who presented their plans to the county, when I watched originally on television this meeting, had kind of a bad attitude, in my opinion. But as you can tell, I'm biased against charters. They believed that they deserved an approval immediately, even though they did not seem to want to obey our comp plan and our county rules and regulations. Their attitude was that of a group of privileged people saying, hurry up, we need this to be done right away. We are deserving. I don't believe they're deserving. They are privatized, they are for-profit schools who benefit from my taxes while our teachers' salaries are outrageously low. Their curriculum is also missing some important components as I've looked at it. I wonder if they will teach evolution. I wonder if they'll teach the science of climate change, for two examples. This particular school has an agenda dictated to them by Hillsdale College in Michigan and a very conservative organization, which is a very conservative organization, which has been one of the sponsors of the Rush Limbaugh program since it began. Technology learning also seems to be missing. They have no bus service so that minorities who are low income cannot get their children to school, so the school will, in essence, be segregated. Our growth management department did not allow the TCCA people to walk all over them. And I want to thank my growth management department for that. You went and you took a very close look and you forced these people to come back and get compliance. I look forward to hearing whether they are compliant enough for you tonight, especially on the issues of wetlands and especially the traffic conditions on Cove Road and the concerns of the neighbors. If they are allowed by this body and this commission to go ahead with their plans, I think that they need to be watched and monitored very closely at all times before they are given a certificate of occupancy. Some developers of property in Martin County have a very short memory and do not remember the Florida Supreme Court decision in the Pinecrest Lakes issue, when a builder went ahead and did things after the fact that were not good.
We wrap it up.
The Florida, and look what happened to Langford Landing. Could I just say one more thing?
One more thing.
Oh, thank you. I have had no child in school for 37 years. I also have white hair and I drive slow on Britt Road. But anyway, and I am happy to pay my taxes, and I'm happy to pay my taxes, a sales tax to raise our teachers' salaries, to rebuild Jensen Beach School, to rebuild Palm City Elementary. But I do not want these schools to come in and take that money away.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Hoss Wiggins, followed by Virginia Sherlock.
Virginia's later.
Oh, later. Okay, Virginia's later. All right.
Who knew Kyle?
Okay. Who did I just? Hoss Wiggins is up. Virginia. Oh, Virginia's gonna be later. Virginia Sherlock. Sorry, Miss Sherlock. Okay.
Hoss Wiggins, longtime resident of Martin County, and with lots of pun intended, if I may. I moved here in 1965. Cove Road was a dirt road. For all you folks that moved in and developed everything along there, feel free to go back where you come from. Now, I say that in fun, but a former county commissioner once said that you can't stop growth. At best, you can seek to manage it wisely. So thank you for your consideration concerning this. I fully support charter school and the classic education that they represent. Thank you all for the work that you've done, and I really hope that you'll approve this process, approve this school. It's much needed. Anytime you can give parents a choice, especially regarding their children, that's a wise thing. So thank you for your time.
Dottie Lancey, followed by Ellen Kerr. Dottie Lancey? Later? Okay. How about Ellen Kerr? Followed by Jamie Duxon? Sorry.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank the board members for all the hard work you've done. I am from Michigan. I've had a place in Stewart for 24 years, and I'm a grandmother, and I think he was behind me on Cove Road. But I did not have the blinker on. I'd like to make that clear. But I was in education for 40 years. I was the top elementary school in Michigan at 564, and I always looked for Hillsdale graduates, Hillsdale education. It was just wonderful. And choice, the best thing that parents have are their children. And if you can give them a choice, that's what I think you should do. And I think this will be an asset. And let's look at it 2-3 years down the road. I think Martin County is a wonderful school district. You've got wonderful private schools. But I think competition rule is for everything. And charter schools are public schools. We had them in Michigan, and if a school wasn't good, a public school, they did close. And there's some charter schools closed. And we have to watch all this very carefully, but I'd like to thank you, and I know what you're doing is not an easy task. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mrs. Duxon, followed by Joe Manginnis.
Hi, I'm Jamie Duxon. I'm an attorney in Palm
Jamie.
City, and I thank you for your thoughtful consideration. I have not heard anyone tonight mention the environmental impact. It's my understanding there's already agricultural burns on Cove Road that Pinewood Elementary has had significant health issues with asthma problems and coughing among the students because of the agricultural burns. So it seems to me counterintuitive to have yet another school, a K through 12 school on this road that is the epicenter of what is causing problems at Pinewood Elementary, and I would thank you to take that into consideration.
Joe McGinnis? If I got that correct.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I just couldn't help but to come up and just to let you know, like some others have expressed their personal opinions, that I am so excited about this school and so delighted that the Martin County School District is adding it to the district. It seems that some people don't want to believe that it's part of the school district, and I have a background in education. I worked in education training for 45 years, and I know you're dealing with the site plan, but I just want to let you know that my daughter, who is 9 years old, and yes, she was my granddaughter, and I adopted her so that she would have a family member raising her, and she is excited about going to this school because of its focus on arts and science. So I just want to thank you for all that you've had to deal with in this situation, and just wanted to express my deep interest and thanks that Martin County is providing an option for me as a parent for my daughter. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the public request to speak forms. If there's anyone else who would like to speak, please do so quickly. But with that said, it's back to the board for deliberations. Oh, we have another one. Oh, Bob, would you like to?
Yeah. So I just wanted to.
Well, we got one more public comment. State your name for the record, sir.
Mark Sestero. I'm a resident of Legacy Cove. I'd like to thank the board and the staff for all the work they've done. You know, we've done a lot of work since the last meeting back in January. My concerns are, you know, with real estate, you say location, location, location. And here we're talking about traffic, traffic, traffic. You already know Cove Road's a nightmare when it's pickup time in the afternoon. I'm not a traffic engineer, but I don't understand how they did their traffic survey in August of last year, doing turn counts when school was not in session. Your public schools weren't in session. The college wasn't in session. And the other thing I don't understand is they say the peak periods are going to be higher in the morning than in the afternoon. I don't know, are the kids not going to get picked up in the afternoon, or that's just talking peak hours? And again, I'm not a traffic engineer, so I don't understand that. Eventually, 2027 or so, Cove Road gets built out to the 4 lanes. In front of the school there at the entrance, across from Legacy Cove, you're talking 6 lanes, which is what you have at Willoughby Country Club right now. And I don't even know if we have that room there. I know there's, right-of-ways and everything that would have to be taken. And again, it's not for me a question about being for or against charter schools. Like I say, it's the location. Another point I have concern, you only have one access point going in and out of that school. And I don't, if there was some sort of emergency or disaster or something, you couldn't get into there. We already had the gas leak on Cove Road, where Anderson Middle School had to be dismissed. It was dismissed with buses. We don't have buses here. Can you just envision what would happen? Well, all of a sudden you're going to have 500-600 cars to show up if there's some sort of emergency. And then again, regarding the roadway expansion, well, you just have to look at Canner Highway, what a mess that's been and how long that's been going on for. And can you envision Cove Road having lane closures during the daytime when the work's going on? So these are just points I'd like you all to consider. Thank you for your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Raines, you'd like to rebut for the applicant?
Good evening. Once again, Bob Raines here on behalf of the applicant. Just a couple of quick comments. And first of all, it's interesting with respect to some of the folks who live in Legacy Cove and Cove Isle and that project. I'll give you one guess whose law firm got that project approved. And I heard some of the same comments here tonight during those hearings when those projects were approved. And that's always an interesting thing in Martin County. Doing this for 22 years, everything is always going to be the end of the world, the Roosevelt Bridge. Every residential project we do, it's always the end of the quality of life in Martin County, and it just never comes to fruition. I heard also some comments about civic responsibility and civic duty. And I think following the law is civic responsibility. And that's what we're talking about here tonight. This project is actually a perfect example of why we have zoning and land use and why we have certain regulations and developments, because we do have projects such as this, and I truly respect both sides are passionate about the issue, and I truly do respect all the comments that were made here tonight with the exception of just a couple. But the fact of the matter is that is why we have these laws and rules and zoning, because we don't make those decisions, land use and zoning, based on emotion. We make them on the facts, we make them on following the law. So we understand, we always understood that we had to comply with the rules and regulations, and we believe demonstrated that through the staff report and all the reports and everything that's been done tonight. So we would ask you again to respectfully move this forward with a recommendation of approval. And as I say, with the civic responsibility, we're following the rules and asking you to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raines. Okay, so it's back to the board for some deliberations. Who wants?
Start on that end.
Start on that end.
You always start on this end. Okay, I've been a resident of Martin County for 32 years. I understand the traffic issue on Cove Road. I've seen a lot of things happen on Cove Road. But when it comes right down to it, this is not about traffic issues. And it's not about a charter school. It's not even about the tax dollars being funded or used to fund the charter school. When it comes right down to it, this is about an applicant being in compliance with county requirements by our staff. And that's where I stand.
Do you want to go? You want me to?
No, I can go ahead. And Don, I agree in terms of what you're saying, that then we are in compliance. And when I met with the applicants, I expressed the concern, and I agree with a lot of people in the public. For those of you that aren't aware, I work at Anderson Middle School. So I'm just right down the road, and I know that we have 1,075 students as of today. We have 19 buses, and it's still at that traffic light, it's an issue. And that's my whole thing. It's not about compliance, and I've met with traffic here. The things, this is an education neutral setting, and I would hope a politically neutral setting. And it is 100% about the compliance. I am very proud of the staff and the hard work they did to make this happen as quickly, because I know you guys worked really hard since last we met. But I just cannot in good faith get past the traffic issue. And so what I got some numbers, and no, stop, please. That's not what this is about. I asked for the traffic study, and on December the 6th, which is a Thursday during a school day, on Cove Road, the average daily was 13,900 cars. 14,000 cars in an average day. So I looked geographically at Salerno, which is very similar. Even though it's got a lot more calming and some 3 lanes, it's basically a 2-lane road with a lot of enhancements to it that I'm hoping one day soon will be similar on Cove. It has, during that same time period, 8,000 cars. I also know, and I haven't looked at these numbers, but while while Canner and US 1 were being worked on, I guarantee you that Willoughby Road had a lot more traffic on it. Mm-hmm. And I do appreciate the parent that spoke and said they're already working on carpooling. Kudos to you. Thank you for that effort. But it's still going to be a large number. And the traffic light is going to be there. It's going to solve a lot of problems. But I just know I experience Anderson Middle School dismissal on a daily basis, and how many cars are lined up there 20 or 30 minutes ahead of time, and it just creates the issue. There was one question, and Mr. Long, if you could, you said that you had 160 cars in that loop. I don't know what the measurement is in terms of small car, big car. What is that based on? Okay, for the standard, okay. All right, that's like I say, that's what I can't get over. The educational side, not from my discussion here. And the other aspects, and a lot of passionate people, as Mr. Raines has said, on both sides. So the traffic's my only issue.
Thank you. Cindy? I agree with a lot of the comments that were made up here. We are not the board that authorizes a charter school or any school here in Martin County. That is up to the Martin County School Board. And we as a public have the ability to change that school board, and we should exercise that right. I am a big proponent of property rights. I lived off of Cove Road for several years, actually 15 years when we first moved here, and it was a dirt road. So I totally understand the sentiment that, you know what, it was a dirt road. Why did everybody move here to take it up? But being that as it may, the land is in compliance, the site plan is in compliance. I don't see where we have any reason to deny the applicant their proper right to use that property the way it's been granted to them. So I have concerns about the traffic as well, but the level of service is at a C. You know, when you look at roads out in Palm City where it's your level D or F, which have come before us many times, we've denied those applications because that level of service was so poor, and there wasn't any relief in sight for that. I've dealt with several other councils, Martin County planning organizations, things like that, and I feel that it's not going to be as bad as it's been made out. So I would approve this project.
I wish, as I asked earlier, I could, we could wave the magic wand and get Cove Road widened as soon as possible. If I lived there, I'd want that as well. But as the applicant has clearly made the point of, they meet the requirement of the law, and that's what we're here to do, is whether or not they comply with Martin County's land development regulations and so on and so forth. They obviously do that. The traffic study's been done. I believe my personal opinion is they are in compliance with our regulations, and I would look for a motion on the matter.
I'll make the motion that we recommend approval of the major final site plan for the Treasure Coast Classical Academy with, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Riska, with the 3 conditions
Correct.
that staff has recommended.
Thank you.
So,
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay, I'm opposed.
Okay, motion passes 3-1.
Thank you.
Sure, we're going to take about a 10-minute break. We're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back.